Mr. Kim, you're now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Thank you all for coming on out. As I was reading through your testimony, your joint testimony, you all emphasized and pointed out just the development of hypersonic missile capabilities by both China as well as Russia. I guess I just want to ask you, are we prioritizing enough hypersonic defense capabilities and the development of those? I mean, when we're seeing that rise, I know we are investing in our own capabilities when it comes to hypersonic, but what about the defense side of things? I'm trying to get a better understanding of where we're scaled to given this very concerning rising threat.
Defense against hypersonics is important to us because there are a lot of hypersonic weapons potentially targeting our air bases in particular. The responsibility for that largely falls on the Missile Defense Agency and on the Army. What we are doing to contribute to that, in particular, is our space-based missile warning system that we're deploying, which will support an overall architecture of hypersonic defense, particularly against some of the intermediate and longer range threats. And General Saltzman could address what we're doing there. That's moving forward pretty quickly. I understand that the Army recently is, our MDA has recently awarded a contract, or is about to, for an interceptor that will be more capable against some of these targets. So that's a work that I don't think is moving quite as fast as we'd like to see in an ideal world.
Yes, sir. About $3 billion in FY25 devoted to what we're calling the proliferated warfighter space architecture. And it's not just that we're putting more sensors up. Those sensors are more capable and actually give us some tracking capabilities. And so the precursor to missile defense is missile warning, and so that's what we're putting in place.
Yeah.
And I would also add that over the past several months, there's been an ongoing study, analysis of alternatives that should come out in June on air and cruise missile defense of the homeland. That's been Department of Air Force led that study, and it's really broken it down into 3 areas that you really need for air and cruise missile defense. You need the sensors, and then you need the effectors, degrade them, kill them, whatever, and then you need the command and control structure. So we have been able to look at each of those elements. That's going through an analysis of alternatives to determine the exact architecture, to be able to put those together. And as General Saltzman said, the missile warning, missile tracking is a key part of that sensor, but that analysis of alternatives should be done in the next couple months on the architecture, and then we'll look at building out the pieces to that to have a better defense against cruise missiles, hypersonics, and others.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'd love to be able to keep in touch with you all about this, and I know that there's limitations what we can talk about in this kind of setting, but in other opportunities, I'd like to have a better sense, especially when it comes to the maneuverability that really sets us apart from other types of challenges. So I understand the warning and the tracking, but how do we think through the tracking as well as the interceptors when we're talking about something that with that kind of velocity, but also that kind of maneuverability, and I'd like to have that sense. I want to just switch gears to another type of threat. Obviously, we've talked a lot about cybersecurity in the past and the challenges on that front. The joint base in my district, McGuire-Dix Lakehurst, is home to the 140th Cyber Operations Squadron. Those cyber operators are performing these kind of critical work for the defense of our country every single week. And I guess I'm just trying to get a sense from you, how do we better support our cyber operators in the Air National Guard and the force overall so that we can try to make sure that this is rising to the level that we need to? I'm trying to have a better sense of, how are these pieces fitting together in your minds?
Our cyber capabilities are really critical to our operational success overall. And frankly, whether we'll even be able to get into the fight because of the potential for cyber attacks. One of the things we've done under the Reoptimizing for Great Power Competition set of initiatives is we're elevating the 16th Air Force, which was under Air Combat Command, to be a direct reporting command. It'll be the AF Cyber, if you will, the Air Force component of the Cyber Command, but it will also have responsibilities for the Air Force as a whole. So we're trying to strengthen our capability there. We're also creating warrant officers in that field, and we are creating new units. We're putting new units together that are dedicated to that function. My expectation is that we will expand that in the future. We're moving in that direction now, but I think it's going to grow even more. I just saw a Defense Science Board report on the cyber threats that we face to our infrastructure, and I think we have to do things to address that as well. So it's a very high priority, and I think the Guard's ideally positioned to play an important role in that. We'll be able to tap into people who are doing similar functions basically in the civil world, and then have them available to bring into the military in a crisis. I think that's going to be very valuable to us. It's a great way to get that expertise.
Okay, great. Thank you. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Gates.
The F-35 is our signature Air Force platform.